All right, hey friends. So this is going to be kind of a weird video because I'm not used to shooting this way, and it's going to be handheld. But it's March of the Pips, and I just wanted to show you my new shelves behind me and just talk about some of my favorite Pip decks in no particular order. And there's flip throughs of all of these, but I just thought it would be cool. So I'm gonna floop around like this. So I just moved, and this is like, so I'm in my new office. I didn't think I'd get back far enough to show you, but like these are my bookshelves. They're not all my books. My partner has like a shelf here somewhere. But this is like, if you saw my old shelf video, you know how sort of neatly everything was. And in this case, I just didn't want a lot of clutter around the apartment. So I put everything in the office so that, you know, whatever clutter existed in my office. But I haven't sort of figured out what to do about this. All of this. There's something actually kind of romantic about all of this stuff, but it's a lot. So anyway, I thought it'd be cool just to share some of my favorite Pip decks, especially if you're like interested in toying around with March of the Pips, but you don't know what deck you want to use. So we'll start way up here. So this, I think, is not a Pip deck. No, it's not. That's a Minchiati deck, which technically is a Pip deck, but it's got different major arcana. But these two are. So this is one of the best. I love it. This is the Tarocco Neoclassico from Il Meneghello, and Kelly from The Truth and Story has a video about this one, and I may have too. It's got really yummy cardstock. And then another cool one, not really a Marseille deck, but a Pip deck, because it's really a playing card. So this is a playing card deck with a major arcana and with 4 courts in each suit. And this will either be a really interesting video to people or like one of my least liked ever. This is so hard to do with one hand. All right, let me come down here because I can actually control it a little bit and not send everything going everywhere. What I wanted to show you about this deck was that the suit cards have those are some of the extra cards. The suits have both the playing card suit and the tarot suit for all the cards. So it's kind of like a nice transition for folks who, you know, like playing card decks. So that was more difficult than I thought it would be. So those are 2 awesome Pip decks. Another awesome Pip deck is right here. This is the Tarot of Musterberg, which I definitely have a walkthrough of. Love this. Oh, this is some of the most incredible cardstock ever. Love this one. We've got back here the I never want to be up there. I just did a walkthrough of this. This is the Seven Sphere Tarot de Marseille. Again, not strictly a Marseille deck, but a good one. And again, really interesting cardstock. You get back there. Stop misbehaving. The Wild Unknown, it gets really wild and it does not want to stay where I put it. Sorry for all this craziness. Let me get back there. So then we've got the Jean Noblet Tarot de Marseille, which I've done a lot of videos on, or using this deck, and it's one of my favorites. The box is really worn out. And then also my favorite, or one of my favorites anyway, the Marshmallow Marseille is a good one. So love that one. What else do we have? Oh, we've got the Ancient Italian Tarot, which is the Lo Scarabeo version of the Soprafino. And I trimmed the borders off mine, actually mostly because of the back, which I really like. You know, it didn't need to be trimmed, but I really liked it. I really like it trimmed. And then I edged it in this sort of rose gold copper color. And that's one I love. I really love all of these. Is there anything here? Yes. This is a new one. This is the Tarot des Ozarks, which is, again, I have a walkthrough of this. I think this is a Printer Studio or Game Crafter deck, but this is sort of like a very fresh, modern, Marseille inspired deck that has a very like handmade quality to it, which makes me really happy. That's a thing that I quite love. Back there, we've got the Piatnik Veen. I can't remember. There's like a real name for this deck. Oh, before I get there, of course, the Marseille par Polka, which is very popular lately, and I love. And I'm proud to be one of the instigators of that. This is the Piatnik Veen. Again, I have a video where we talk through this one. This is a really fresh, fun. This is out of print, but it's not hard to find on eBay, and it wasn't super expensive. And it's just got a lot of color and life to it, which I love. It's sort of the exact opposite of the Polka, which has a lot of like depth to it. Anything in here? Oh yes. So there's this is Pip-esque. This is the Vachetta deck. This is the Il Meneghello version of it. There's a Llewellyn, not a Llewellyn, I can't remember Lo Scarabeo today. Lo Scarabeo version, which is a little less expensive, but the colors are different. So it's got a lighter, springier feel. This has like a more richer summer feel. It's Pip-like, although there's a lot of illustrations on the cards. So while I love this deck, I actually do find the images sometimes a little distracting, but I still think it's wonderful. And I don't think there's anything else in there that would be Pip-like. And then here, we've got some interesting... So back there, you can see it. Everyone's seen this, but there's the Pagan Otherworlds. That's, it's not a Pip deck. It's very Rider-Waite Smith and Side, but it's a nice transition deck. Because there's no people in the minors, and the minors are very suggestive of Pip cards. And then the Tildwick Tarot right there is so different and subtle that you could theoretically use it as a Pip deck if you wanted to. I think everything else... Oh, no. Trionfi della Luna. This is the original Italian version. There was a French version. There's paradoxical versions that have sort of like inverted colors. And then there's, I think, an English edition now in play. That's a good one, and it's a lot of fun. There's another Minchiati deck there. Again, Minchiatis, are Pips because they don't have illustrated or scenic or whatever word you want to use minors, but they don't. They have different majors. And then this is the Golden Tarot Visconti's Forza, which is another one I really love. I'll make a mess trying to take it out, but I have a video. Do I have a video on this? I don't know if I do, but Kelly from The Truth and Story definitely does, because that's where I got the impulse to get it from. So, what else? Whoops, I'm taking my chair. I've done all this before too, but let me just sort of recommend some books if you're interested. So, Tarot the Open Reading is one of my favorites. This is by Yoav Ben-Dov, and it was recently published, doink, as the Marseille Tarot Revealed. So that is the new version this is by Llewellyn. Up there is The Way of Tarot by Alejandro Jodorowsky. Not my fave. It's just a little too esoteric for my taste. Right above that is Marseille Tarot by Camelia Elias, whose work I really like. She's not to everyone's taste, but I like the terseness of her work. Do I have anything else? That's you can't see the cover here, but this is the J.M. David Marseille Tarot book, which is huge. I actually got it as an ebook and printed it because I thought I just wanted it right away. But to print it required two sets of bindings, so that did not work according to plan. Are there others? I know that there's one other, but I don't want to talk about it quite yet. Just diddly-do. That may be the main ones. I think it is. And then finally, of course, the one that I didn't mention was my book, so Tarot on Earth, which I highly recommend. And in fact, as part of March of the Pips this month, I'll be doing a giveaway of it. Oh, here's the other one. Tarology by Enrique Enriquez. Again, a little unusual, and not not the easiest read, but definitely interesting. So yeah, anything else I should share? I think those are like the big ones. I don't say the big decks, and that always makes me giggle like a 12-year-old. Those are that's my messy shelves. So anyway, this was interesting. Looking forward to seeing your posts, March of the Pips 2018, and be good. So totally forgot one of the most important decks, which is another Il Minicello deck, and I didn't have it out because it always sits on my desk. And it's La Corte de Tarocchi, which is another one I love, and I definitely talk about this one a lot. So all right, that's it.